Koska niiden piti tulla?
Kyllähän ne pitäisi aika lailla nyt ruveta tulemaan.
Mahtava juttu.
Joo.
Hey, customer is coming. Please come here. Customer is coming. Welcome to Prima Power Finland. We are here for you and everything is ready. So in the factory all is set and now we are here for the Shear Genius day. So Antti, what is Shear Genius? What that mean?
It's a machine where we have combined the traditional punching technology, but we have added there on the side with the right angle shear to speed up the production.
Sounds very interesting. I assume that all these components here behind us, it's somehow related on this machine.
Yeah, you can see that all these parts are somehow rectangular ones, and when we have rectangular parts, then the right angle shear machine technology is the right way to do this with fast and material saving.
Perfect. So today we have the event related on the Shear Genius. So what we are going to see today?
Yeah, today we are going to launch the new Shear Genius EVO, and we are going to see all the features and improvements of that, how we have get the machine even better than ever.
Sounds great. So now we can go and start to go forward with our agenda. So first we go through a little bit about the Shear Genius and shearing the philosophy. So let's take a look a little bit about the philosophy of integrated shear. So here's a couple of slides to explain a little bit the idea. So what it is, how it works, why it is suitable for the rectangular components, and how much they are used. A little bit is the history. Then how it make the advantage for the customers, how it can really help to make more money, and how to automate it and why it is best for the automation and automated production. So Shear Genius, what it is actually. So there is a two, let's say, basic work principle integrated in the same machine. So the punching machine, where we can do all the punching process, punch the holes, openings, quarter notches, and also even make the formings and everything. And then in the same machine, we attach the shearing unit with the two plates in the same machine, so that we can use the long blades and the fast operation to cut the parts out. So like you can see these two pictures, explaining a little bit of the punching process, the punching machine as a separate unit, and also then the shearing process. So these two operations are then combined in one and the same machine. So there is no any manual operation required. It's making the part flow continuous, and it's very, very reliable operation and production method. So when the shear are really down, always the part is cut to loose, and it's moved to next process stage. So there is an automatic sheet loading to the operation, so for the punching process. Then using all possible modern technology punching tools to cut the holes and openings, even the big cutouts. Then we are using the shear to cut the part out from the sheet, and as you can see the picture, there is no any skeleton, so the rest of the sheet is still remaining as one solid piece, so it's make the components very accurate. And then the parts are cut and they are in the conveyor, and the conveyors are moving then to the next process. Either it's the stacking or the bending process, or whatever it might be. So this how the process goes, and why it is very simple and reliable. The world is rectangular. What actually that means? It means that, of course, the raw material is, even though it's coming from the coils or in the sheet stack, so it's a rectangular materials. So meaning that to consume it completely, of course, the components are rectangular. The bending is operation for the rectangular parts when the bending plates are straight, even the press brakes or the panel bender. When we want to utilize the best out of the common line cutting, so meaning that there is no any skeleton in between, then of course the straight lines are the best for that one, so the highest sheet utilization rate. Then the most of the sheet metal components by nature, they are rectangular. So all the electrical cabinets, lighting units, steel and wall ceiling panels, elevators, doors, and so on. And by using this method, of course, and by the rectangular components, it's the economical, and it's a fast and efficient process. The Shear Genius, it's not the new idea, meaning that it's very, very tested and proven and a reliable process. So the story of the Shear Genius starting already since 1987, when the first shearing unit was made and integrated to the punching. Then the shear size has been evolved during the years from 600, 800, and now it's 1000 by 1500 plates. Of course, then the operation power from the hydraulic to servo-electric as like economical and the power consumption, and really the success of this technology that we have more than 3,000 machines worldwide delivered, and most of them are still in operation. The money-making process is, of course, because it's a fast and efficient process, so the components, the process and the productivity is the highest in the class. But also the other meaning that it's saving a lot. So the scrap, of course, is less, the manual handling is minimized, sheet utilization rate is very, very high. It's low on consumption because there is basically tooling, and the plates, they are a little bit wearing out during the operation, but very little, and of course they are sustainable in meaning that they can be reused and grind. There is no any gas consumed, there is no any hydraulic at this point, so the electric and power consumption is very low. It's very low on maintenance, and also that again, for the maintenance point of view, oil is not needed, so there is not waste. And then of course the operations and operator and manual operations are not needed, so it's very simple and reliable and cost saving. And a couple words about automation. So while this process itself is very reliable, so when the parts are separated by using the plates, so the components, they are free on the conveyor and they are moving to the next process stage. Parts can be stacked, or of course they can be delivered directly to the bending operation. When there is the automation is modular, of course, then the loading side, raw material storages can be added later on, as well as the stacking functions and the functionalities can be added later on. And also the Shear Genius is a heart of the system, meaning that the bending automatic panel bender can be connected, and it's making the really factory-wide complete sheet metal component production system. Wow, Marko, what the heck was that?
Our brand new Shear Genius EVO, the heart of the system.
Hey, what that EVO means?
First of all, the best in the world, what you can get with money. Highest output, lowest cost per part with sustainable fabrication.
Marko, I want to hear more.
I'm gonna tell you more about this. Shear Genius EVO, the heart of the system. As I just mentioned, the highest output, lowest cost per part with sustainable fabrication. And what I mean by this, now we will see. First of all, punch and shear technology. As it has always been, it is the solution for square parts and panels. Typical segments like steel doors, electric cabinets, elevators, wall panels, HVAC, and of course subcontracting. For these segments with punch and shear, we have a fastest and most reliable production method compared to other technologies. High seat utilization and high part edge quality. For this seat utilization, we will see some more detailed information later on. And with punch and shear, it is always easy to automate. Parts are ready for material handling devices immediately after blanking process. I will now show you first a few case studies, and this will be the first one. Scandinavian door, quite simple design, high volume product, and there is high demand for short cycle time on blanking process in order to serve the bending. On this calculation, we have parameters for fixed costs and time calculation, naturally. And so we get average cost per part for whole year, 1 shift, 2 shift or 3 shift production. And same way we will see the capacity what will be available for whole year. And here we see that the difference is quite remarkable for this kind of big panel. Second case study is for HVAC, residential unit, quite typical. Several different size panels inside one product, 2 different materials, pre-painted, and for the frame parts there is zinc-coated parts. Order-based production typically, each sheet can be different material or different size based on the really the order, how the production is run. And when we make the calculation for this production, we see the same difference as we saw for the door. Remarkable difference. Now, if we go and look a little bit at the history. This is an example from side panel to electric cabinet. Quite complicated part with threadings and formings included with punching. And here we see the blanking time for single parts. With new EVO machine, 54 seconds. And when we compare to the older versions, the difference is quite huge. Another example and comparison to the history. Little bit smaller component, but quite complex to produce this also. Difference between the versions from the history. Quite remarkable. And for this panel, now we see also we make the estimation for 500,000 pieces per year, the volumes, and according to this calculation, we see the raw material costs and potential saving comparing to different technologies. And this is because of how we can make the nesting more efficient. Big difference. Now, comparison to the conventional hydraulic punch and shear, what is on the market and what has been on the market also by us in the past, compared to today's punch and shear servo-electric version. Example for 2-shift production, 8 hours per shift, whole year. And this is potential cost saving when you make the investment from hydraulic to servo-electric. So, highest output, lowest cost per part with sustainable fabrication.
And here we are now beside the new Shear Genius EVO machine. Now we are going to see how the fast machine really is in the production. We are running big door panels and there is just one part on a sheet. And now we are going to see how the new features are going to speed up the production with the Shear Genius machine. And here we are already cutting out and sharing the finalized product for the line, and then we can go to see more closer to the new loading cycle of the Shear Genius EVO. And there we take the sheet to the clamps with the loader, but we did have measuring pins in the table, which we used to measure the X and Y sides also from the outside of the sheets. This gives us a great benefit as we now know all the sides of the sheet and we can utilize the whole sheet in a completely different way on a nesting level. Now we can optimize when we are using the shearing and when we are using the punching for trimming the sheet. Then again we start shearing the finalized product and releasing that to the line. And now when the part is released, we are dropping the trim strip from the clamps throughout the table for a trim strip crusher, which is cutting the trim strip and releasing to the same scrap conveyors that we have on a right angle shear. This one fastens the process ending cycle on the sheet remarkably and gives a good way to reduce the cycle time on a program. Now it's going all the way to the panel bender, and now it's taken to the turning device of the panel bender, and there the panel bender was already bending the previous door panel. And the operator removes the ready door panel from the tilting unloading table, and same time the loading device takes the second sheet and places it for the manipulator of the panel bender to be bended. I really have to say that this new Shear Genius EVO machine is remarkably faster than the previous ones. Next, we are gonna see how we can install loading and unloading automation for this standalone Shear Genius machine, and that way build up a bigger systems from this one machine. Here we have a standard Shear Genius EVO 1530 shell. On the loading side, we have loading device with a fixed loading table for 3000 kilos of sheet material once. Then on the unloading side, we have C1500 sorting conveyors from where we can drop smaller parts to the Euro pallets. Then in the end of the line, we have easy sorting table to sort also the longer and bigger parts coming from the Shear Genius line. Then when we start adding more automation to this cell, we replace the fixed loading table with the 2 loading wagons. That way we can double the material that we can have for the machine. Plus we can also load the other wagon while the other wagon is being used underneath the loading device for feeding the machine. And that way we get the machine running longer without stops. Then on the unloading side, we can replace the easy sorting table with a STS stacking robot. With that we can sort by dropping parts to 2 wagons, and that way we can automate also the sorting of bigger parts. And if we want to have more sophisticated sorting option, we replace the STS with a PSR portal robot. With that one, we can pick and stack parts to the tables or wagons and have more accurate stacks for the parts, and we can also stack more complicated parts coming from the Shear Genius. Next step on the loading side is of course removing the loading wagons and replacing those with a storage solution. In this case we are showing how we can add FLS storage for the Shear Genius cell and have numerous materials available for the machine, and that way increase the time that we can run unmanned production.
Aki, Since you are the sales director for the North European countries, can you a little bit open the topic that how important the Shear Genius is the customers for this sales area?
Actually, the right angle shear technology has been very important for Nordic customers since the very beginning. And that's mainly because of the accuracy of the technology, plus the material savings and the speed of the technology.
That's really great to hear. About the customer comments, since you are a sales director for this area, is there any possibility that we could get some customer comment about the Shear Genius, how it has been helped them in the production?
Actually, we had an opportunity to take a video. One of our customer called Halton, which is located in Finland, in Kausala. And they have a long experience about right angle shear technology. And they have chosen the technology because it's easy to include the automation and the bending technology to the same right angle shear technology. So we have Kari Virkki, who is a production technology manager, who will give us more details. Kari, please.
Olen Kari Virkki, Halton Oy Kausalasta, toimin täällä tuotantoteknologiapäällikkönä. Valmistamme Kausalassa ilman hallintaan ja säätöön liittyviä ohutlevytuotteita. Meillä on tällä hetkellä Night-Train varastohyllylinjasto, arkitusmahdollisuus leikkauslinjalla, sitten on 2 kulmaleikkuria ja sitten on taivutusautomaatti ja sitten on myös näitä käsisärmäyspuristimia. Parhaimmillaan 100 000 kappaletta kuukaudessa ja levymäärä on 360 000 neliötä vuodessa. No, meidän tyyppiseen ohutlevytuotantoon soveltuu erinomaisesti. Niillä pystytään tekemään erilaisia lävistyksiä, erilaisia muotoja. Ne tuotteet pystytään suunnittelemaan niin, että saamme isompia kokonaisuuksia, jolloin niiden tuotteiden valmistettavuus on huomattavasti nopeampaa ja tehokkaampaa. Tavoitteeksi asettiin silloin, kun koneinvestointeja tehtiin, että saataisiin 30% työajan säästö. Tällä hetkellä ollaan selkeästi tavoitteessa, ollaan menty hieman ylikin siinä, eli olemme saaneet noin 33% enemmän tehokkuutta lisää tuosta järjestelmästä. Ollaan pystytty tekemään nykyään isompia kappaleita. Se hyöty näkyy siinä, että meillä oli aiemmin yksi tuote valmistettiin 5 osasta, jolloin se tarkoittaa, että myös kokoonpanossa joudumme liittämään ja käyttämään enemmän työaikaa tuotteiden valmistukseen. Nykyään vastaava osa on 1 osa, jolloin me saamme huomattavan tuotantosäästön siinä. Kelellinen hyöty on siinä, että voimme tehdä tuo arkkikoon justiin sellaiseksi, mikä kappale vaatii. Eli me silloin säästämme materiaalissa noin 20%. Ja sen vuoksi myös tuo ajaminen eli koneistusaika koneella on huomattavasti paljon nopeampi. No, kulmaleikkurilla sieltä tulee nopeus, laatu ja se liitettävyys automaatioon. Taivutusautomaatilla meillä tällä hetkellä hyötyä se, että siinä on pitkä taivutuspituus, samoin laatu, nopeus, se, että saadaan liitettyä sitä automaatioon. Night-Train hyllyssä, se, että voidaan pitää tavaraa varastossa, saadaan sieltä syötettyä tuotteelle tavaraa ja meillä pysyy varastohallinta kunnossa. Meillä ei ole oikeastaan mahdollista tehdä tuotantoa niin nopeasti kuin me toimimme nykyisin, koska meillä on todella nopeat tilaussyklit. Tilauserät voi olla pieniä tai hyvinkin isoja ja asiakkaat on nykypäivänä hyvin vaativia siitä, että tuotteet pitää saada nopeasti tilauksesta asiakkaalle. No, Prima Power on yhteistyökumppaneen meille todella hyvä. Se, että saamme kaiken palvelun samasta paikasta. Meillä on huolto-ohjelmat. Ne löytyy siinä vastaukset, jos tulee ongelmia. Se, että palvelukyky on todella nopeata, eli saamme miehet tänne paikalle aika nopeasti. Se, että voin suositella Prima Poweria myös muille.
It was very interesting to see how the Shear Genius was in action in production. Okay, next we have here some components prepared. Marko, these are prepared with the Shear Genius machine, is that correct?
Yes, these are examples from real life production,
Okay.
typical segments.
Here we have a quite big panel. So can you explain and tell us what additional work stages Shear Genius has been adding this panel?
Yes, first of all, this is front leaf for electrical cabinet. We have created using forming, tooling and forming mechanism. We can have this kind of offset profile on the panel. So, and this brings design and also stiffness to the
And then
frame.
there is some, I see that this is some ventilation louvers. Is that
Yes,
correct?
also done using forming tools and mechanism.
So for all the products where the heat, for example, has to get out from the
Yes.
cabinet inside. Okay, this is some pre-painted material. So what added value the Shear Genius has been made for this component?
Yes, this is example from air ventilation unit for residential use, pre-painted, very sensitive material. We use once again offset wheel to bring stiffness to very thin material, and this reduces vibrations, for example, from the structure.
So this can be used to reduce the resonance in the panel, and also make some a little bit some air gap for example, the fan
Exactly.
and so on.
Yes.
Okay, here below we have another interesting component. I think this is also the part for the air ventilation unit.
Yes, same unit, and this here we see a connection for the pipes and tubes, and we need this kind of offset for sealing, and this is also done using forming tools and forming mechanism, and the size can be different according to the
So
design.
the size can vary depend on the product. So electrical cabinets or air ventilation. So everything where we need some holes for the pipes and tubes and so on.
And together with sealing, yes.
Great. Then we have this profile here. So what Shear Genius has done additional for this part?
Yeah, here we see part of the door frame, and we have brought marking for the production. We give assistance for assembly and also marking for traceability and controlling the production.
And the quality, of course, requires some follow-up and tracing.
Yes.
What techniques and technologies we can use to provide marking for the components?
We can have inkjet or laser marking and also labeling. And here we use laser marking.
Okay, here we have an interesting looking component, or actually, is this one single piece?
No, actually we see series of parts, and this is example from construction industry. We have created using forming, tooling and mechanism. We have done cut profile here in between the parts, and this gives us a possibility to decrease the lead time for planking process, and also makes the parts handling more reliable.
So the parts can be separated by using this cutting groove in between.
In the end, in the reality on the field, and also gives a possibility for bending phase if needed. We can bend series of products instead of bending one per time.
So huge savings on the production time.
Yes.
So and this narrow profile here is used the same techniques as well.
Correct. On the planking phase, we have series of these profiles, and on this now when we keep them together, we have possibility to use automatic bending to make the bending, and we separate the parts after bending process.
So also in the panel bending machine
Yes,
during
exactly.
the process. So this also gives the huge saving where we don't need to make this one by using the press brake. Marco, this big panel here, that really is like a door panel, correct?
Yes, actually we can call this a design door, because we have several different shapes and details on the door leaf. On the lower side, we have this called a rib wheel, but in the end it brings stiffness to the lower part of the door leaf. Offset area around door handle, once again to bring stiffness. And on the upper part, we see also design together with stiffness. For assembly, we have created extrusion first, and then we make tapping to the extrusion, and this gives the possibility to use screw assembly for the door.
So Marko, once again, that all these additional things the Shear Genius is able to provide for the components, and this way reducing the manual work.
Yes, all these workstations are inside the blanking process. So we save hands and floor space and time.
So the Shear Genius is really the multi-purpose machine, so
Yes.
to say. That's really interesting, and now we are moving to see that how the Shear Genius is a part of the system, and it's like a heart of the system. So how the Shear Genius really works as a heart of the system, how we can connect the storages, and also how we can continue the Shear Genius to be really a complete production line.
Shear Genius EVO, the heart of the system. Here is Shear Genius EVO manufacturing cell with loading device. For longer unmanned production and faster material changes, we can have fast loading storage. When we connect the automatic panel bender with Shear Genius, we create our famous PSPP direct production line. For more stacking area and precision, a right solution is a stacking device with 2 wagons. We can have a lot of stacking area available and precise part stacks from sharing. When there is need for more complex part stacking, buffering, more flexibility, and also adding parts from the external sources, we can have picking stacking robot, and here is picking stacking robot short version with 2 wagons, and there is buffering unit in the robot area, and it balances the material flow between these two machines. There is also a longer model available for picking stacking robot, and it doubles the stacking area, and it can also buffer the material. When there is need for material savings, and it's mass production style production, so a lot of same material is used. Often, right solution is cut to length line, so the coil line. Nitrain FMS intelligent warehouse connects all of our system machines to itself. So we can have raw material connection, finished part connection, and flat part connection. And as we can see here, we have the picking stacking robot connected with 2 wagons to the nitrain, so there is a lot of ready parts available for nitrain. But all other manufacturing cells and units can be connected to the nitrain, and here is a robotized bending cell. So fully automated press brake cell. So the Shear Genius EVO together with our Prima Power automation and softwares creates really the systems.
Jari, I have one urgent program to be run. How fast can you get it on the machine?
I will show you. I choose the right program. In this point, I can choose where I want to put the parts. sent direct to the bending or to be stacked on the stacking area. In this case, I choose direct to the bending. And after that, I just check that all the tools which are using in this program are indicated green because all the tools are in the turret. So we are ready to start the program.
Okay, that was really fast now. Next, we are gonna see how our customers are commenting about the use of the Shear Genius machines.
No parhaimmillaan se toimii silleen, että laitat illalla viimetteeksi ennen kuin lähdet kotiin koneen käymään minuutilleen valmis, kun tulee takaisin töihin. Se on kätevää. Että kyllähän se nyt on paljon auttanut ja olen tyytyväinen siihen, että tommonen hankittiin.
Okay, and now we have the machine running behind us as we have the program there. Now we are producing air ventilation box, and we are going to follow up the production in our complete PSPB line, starting from the material storage all the way to the panel bending. Here we start the journey from the Shear Genius, where the right angle shear has just cut it out one part and it's going all the way to the panel bender. Then the panel bender grabs the part and moves it over the manipulator to wait for the previous part to be finished by bending. And as the previous part is being unloaded, we drop the new part for the manipulator. And here we change to another camera, which is showing the bending process inside the bending tools. The manipulator rotates the part edges one by one between the tools, and panel bender automatically changes the tool setup according to the needed bend. And now the part is finished and being unloaded by the belt conveyor to unloading table. The panel bender's tilting unloading table brings the part outside the machine safety area for operator to take it for the next step on production. Then we move back along the PSBB line to punching and shearing machine. And here you can see blank parts on a line waiting to be bended. And here the Shear Genius is finishing the previous sheet, and loading device is now starting the loading procedure by taking the next sheet already to the gripper. In this setup we have the storage on a 90-degree angle compared to the PSBB line, and the rotating gripper allows us to do the loading from that setup too. And as the sheet is loaded for the Shear Genius, the storage brings already next sheet ready for loading. And from this camera angle we can soon see how the right angle shear blades start to release the punched blanks for the line. And now there's the first one. And here we do not lift this part directly to the bending, but we lift it with a PSR portal robot and stack it on a table to a buffer to wait for bending. And as you saw, the next part did go directly for bending, and this way we can balance the part flow between the Shear Genius and panel bender and get them running with the full capacity. And here we are again watching the panel bender working. In this time we are bending a part where there is so-called last bend negative. So despite the negative bend on a product, we are still able to unload the part by pushing it to the unloading table, like you see now. And same way as a normal part, the tilting unloading table is able to bring the ready part for the operator. Here you can see that we took this part from the turning device suction cups, as there were also pre-painted materials on the ventilation box, and those we want to rotate before the bending to get the correct surface outside on a product, and that way we also avoid the scratches on the paint surface. And here the Shear Genius is punching the product and switching between the tools in a turret. Now we came to inside of the night range storage to see how the fast loading device is grabbing the sheet one by one directly from the storage cassette. With this setup we are able to switch between the materials really fast between every sheet, and we do not need to swap complete cassettes to the machine between every material. And here you can see again how the PSR takes the part for buffer table to wait for bending. As said previously, this way we can get the machines running with the full speed, or we can also manage the bending order, and that way we can feed parts in correct order according to the next steps in the production. Now the PSR is lifting another part from the stack, and it made the seat separation procedures to ensure that we lift just one part. And now you can see how the operator takes out the finished part from the tilting unloading table. And if you have been observant, you may have noticed that the only thing that the operator has done in this unloading is the unloading of the parts. Otherwise, the operation of the line has been completely automatic. And now we switch again to the inside camera to see how we are producing the profile parts of the product. Normally these profile parts might be considered as a press brake parts, but thanks to clever tooling and design, we are able to produce them also on a panel bender. We have used engraving tool for the blank already on a punching machine, and on a panel bender we snap off the finished profile from the blank with bending tools along this engraving line. And this way we can run the production with our PSPB line. From here the parts would continue to the painting, to the assembly, or directly to the customers. Next is gonna show you how we can ease up even more the programming of the parts with the automated programming.
Well, let's get going here with NC Express, and we're going to show you how to import an assembly and process an assembly of a door frame. So here we are in NC Express. We'll open up the assembly file, which is straight from SolidWorks or Inventor, whatever you want to use. It brings in the full assembly, and including hardware, screws, door handles, hinges, etc. So we can see if we select any of our parts, we can pick the door skin, the door frame, and already we're mapping materials to our database. So we can go here to the assembly process. And when we push play on assembly processing, it runs through the parts and checks if we've already processed these parts in the past. If not, they're considered new. If they are, then we check the modified date and check the revision. So these parts are unfolding and are saving and are tooling up. And we get a successful process here. So all of the parts have been run. It's just asking for a new name for the assembly, so we'll give it that. And from here, we'll go to File and look at the part and start nesting. So we'll go to our orders database, select orders. We can select all of these parts that the order has been created for from us now from this assembly. So here we can hit nest. There are two different material types, so there's two nests going to be made. And just automatically process these parts. So the nesting is done. We can select all of the nests and process them, and this will do the optimization, as well as making the NC code for the programs. So once that's done, we can take a look at one of these nests, and let's go to the first part and take a look at the door. So we go to the door and open the part. Once this part is open, we can then go to our bending element in NC Express, and it will open up this part within the bending interface. So here's the part. The machine is already selected. And we'll just tell it which way we want the part to come into the machine, what angle 0 would be. So from here, we can select the bender process and do automatic programming, short sides first. So what this is doing is it's automatically generating the program now based on doing the short side of the panel first and then the long sides. So we have a single tool set up in the machine. So it's churning away. There's ups and down bends in this part. So program's ready. So we can zoom in, see the part has nice tight corners. Here we can select our bender process and push play and see the simulation of the part being bent in the bending software. So one short side, second short side, and a long side, and a long side. And the unloading is taken care of as well. And that's programming.
Now we have a couple of questions coming from our customers, which we are going to find answers. So Marko, what is the size of the parts we can use for with the shear and we can cut?
Well, actually any size of the parts. We can start, for example, the size of a matchbox, and parts can be very narrow, long, and we can go all the way up to maximum seat size what we promised to the machine. So all size in between those.
So all the different segments, it's a perfect solution. Okay, then for the material thickness and the type, does the shear need any manual setup?
Between the sheet sizes and the thicknesses? No, we have this automatic clearance setup, and this makes it possible to have every sheet different thickness or different material automatically. No setup times, and this is very important for continuous production.
And very important also for automatic production lines.
Yes.
Lauri, now we have learned today that Shear Genius, the EVO model is much more productive. So does this give some benefit for the systems point of view?
Yes, actually the PSPP production line is the most famous production line of the Prima Power product family, and the heart of that is definitely the SG, and we are getting more and more performance for this production line now, and it gives us a stronger leading position at the market.
This is really good to hear also that for the systems point of view this makes a big difference. Okay, Marko, one question related on the formings and forms on the components and additional working stages. So if there is a forming close to the part edge, can we use the shear to cut the part out?
Yes, of course. And actually using shear means that we can go even closer to the forming details on the parts compared to the standard punching tools. And thanks to servo technology what we use on shearing, the process is fully controlled and fully optimized all the time. And this is huge benefit what you can see on your production also compared to the conventional hydraulic technology what is seen on the market as well.
Okay.
Still today.
This is very good feature. Then for the software and programming, many times there is an assumption that the 2D laser programming is very easy. Lauri, what you can say about the programming of Shear Genius machine?
I would say the Shear Genius is even easier, or at least the same level. Our NC Express is made fully automatic, so all the programming for sharing, punching, everything is fully automatic. No any manual step for this.
So this is very, very important, of course, when the Shear Genius is part of the production line, and for example, the orders are coming from the ERP.
Yes, and as we are leading at the system side, all the programming for the line is also automatic. So even the robots, all the programs are created automatically. So it's fully automatic production line.
Great. Thanks, Lauri and Marko. So now it's time to close this event. I want to thank you all to joining us today and watching the Shear Genius evolution introduction. I want you, of course, to challenge us so that we can really show how much and how big is the difference on productivity and performance on the new Shear Genius on your segment and your products, what you are manufacturing. So contact your local salespeople, Prima Power people, and so we can go through and see how the production is done more automatically with Shear Genius. So, in my behalf, thank you and see you next time.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for visiting us. See you next time. Bye bye.
Bye bye.
Bye bye.
Hei hei.
Auf Wiedersehen. Hei hei.
Hei hei.